Track 9. Yeah, track 9.
Track
He doesn't
9.
even
It's
know.
called.
What is track 9 called?
It's called.
Sorry, I don't understand. the question.
Sorry, aren't you asking us? Like, it's called Mute.
Ah,
Yeah,
that was easy.
and it's 12 minutes of silence.
Cool. Cut.
Done. Mute's another really personal one because again, it was like it's something that reflected the tone and the experience that we all had. And we were talking about how we didn't feel like creating anymore. It was like the least inspired we'd ever felt as creatives. And this is something that's like in our bones. It's like
It wasn't even a writer's block thing. It was literally just this element pushing against us both consciously. I don't want to write. Why do I have to write? I've got an album that I haven't even got to live. And then at the same time,
And
just
also,
we
what's
were
the
being
point?
pulled apart from everywhere else.
Yeah, so
Things
it's
were
like
hard.
we felt voiceless in that way because again, it's like we don't do this for money. If we wanted to do it for money, we wouldn't have chosen the genre of music that we make. It's like we do this because it's in our bones and we have to create. And so the very idea that we didn't want to do that anymore was like brutal to experience. And so Mute kind of reflects that. It also, on a more literal level as well, I had like an experience of essentially losing my voice through that period as well. For one reason or another, I actually had to go and get a vocal procedure done on my vocal cords to kind of assist in recovery from that. Took a really long time to get back on my feet. And so not having a voice both kind of literally and, metaphorically for our own experience as people, applies to the story of that song. I think one of the cool things about it is like originally I had this idea, and that's what we ended up kind of landing on in terms of the vocal delivery of the opening of the song. I didn't have the lyrics or anything yet, but I had the kind of tone of it. I wanted the opening of the song to be almost like somebody calling out from the top of a mountain, like a voice just calling out over something desperately in like a call to action kind of thing. And then the band kind of swelling in from that, and that's sort of what we ended up doing.
Yeah, you wanted to do that like early on. We really struggled to make that happen. But if you remember, the actual origin of Mute was more or less like an intro track to Breathe. We were actually going to have like originally we envisioned Breathe being kind of like track 2 with maybe a minute long kind of introduction. And the material that we had for that was cool. Like it was the theme that comes in after the vocal. It was all strong stuff, but it just felt like I wasn't really able to arrange it in a way that it didn't feel like we were just kind of hitting it and then leaving. Like it needed a bit more space, and that bit more space ended up being 12 minutes.
It's just kind of like, here's this fun intro. You know what? Instead, let's spend a lot of time doing something else entirely.
Exactly. But I'll tell you what, it's probably my favorite song on the record, and I think it's because it's a song that probably takes more risks than almost any other. I mean, Charcoal Grace maybe notwithstanding. Almost everything in it is kind of unusual for us in a lot of ways. Sure, there's some big chorus elements and some stuff that certainly like bears resemblance to how we approach songwriting normally, but we've got all of these big kind of atonal sections or sections that are very kind of modal in nature.
The guest
vocal
flute
intro is a good one. The guest Sophie doing all of the guest woodwind, which is a bit of a feature throughout the song as well.
Love that.
It's a pretty novel song, but yet, this is the thing that is kind of the crux of it as a successful work in my eyes, is that I still feel it,
Yeah.
It's a song that pushes in a lot of directions that we don't normally go, but yet
It's
it still hits me
technically
in the
very
heart,
difficult as well. It's one of those really challenging to play kind of songs.
Definitely.
Like super, super difficult. Lyrically, the kind of journey that it took through that has one of those moments as well, where like right at the end, because it is the culmination of the album, we didn't want to end on a really depressing note. We wanted to end much like Breathe, because again, these are the bookends of the album. And we wanted it to end on a reconnection moment as well. And so it's like, it's not, it's realizing that we didn't have nothing more to say. It's just that temporarily our voices were taken from us. And now we have so much more to say on account of being bottled up and being, like having these experiences. We've learned so much, we've seen so much, and it's not just having something to say, it's having something to save as well. We've now experienced like the loss of the thing that we care about the most, and that goes for a lot of people around the world in whatever they're doing, not just obviously us and our little musical experience, but like the end of it being like, we have so much to save and we cannot take life and interaction with one another, even down to that level, for granted, let alone being able to celebrate music in a room together and that kind of thing. So yeah, we wanted it to end on something that was positive and driven in that way.
Absolutely.
I love that the theme for Breathe starts again.
Yeah.
At the end. That's how we get you. That's how we get
Force
to it.
you
It's
to
just like,
listen
oh,
to
wait a
another
minute, that's the beginning of Play
63
Again.
minutes of music. It is worth saying that those two songs are definitely partners. Like it's not like the two are a part one or two, but they share a lot of motivic material from the theme you described. Even things like the Road to Ruin verse. Like there's a few elements that hint that they are connected, but they do act, I think, as you say, like Breathe is this very zoomed out concept, whereas Mute is very subjective.
And personal
very
for
personal,
whomever is listening, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
I like the one I'm picturing is like literally like for some reason digging in the garden and just humming to myself. Like that's the kind of tone that I want to go for with it. So it's just like really introverted kind of sound.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the album. If you've got any thoughts on your personal experiences with the album or what it means to you, we'd love to hear them. Hit us up. Bye.